Good day, everyone. My name is Jannen Reyes, a BSED 2A English, and I will share to you today about Marxism. Classical Marxism. Marx argued that each significant period in history is constructed around a particular mode of production. This is the way in which society is organized to produce the necessaries of life like food, shelter, etc. In general terms, each mode of production produces specific ways of obtaining the necessities of life, a specific social relationship between workers and those who control the mode of production, and specific social institutions, including cultural ones. At the heart of this analysis is the claims that how a society produced and means of existence ultimately determines the political, social, and cultural shape of that society and its possible future development. After Marx died in 1883, Frederick Engels, friend and collaboration, found himself having to explain through a series of letters made of the subtitles of Marxism to younger Marxists who, in their revolutionary enthusiasm, threatened to reduce it to a form of economic determinism. A classical Marxist approach to popular culture would above all else insist that to understand and explain a test or practice it must always be sustained, situate in its historical moment of production, analysis in terms of the historical conditions that produced it. There are dangers here. Historical conditions are ultimately economic, therefore, cultural analysis can quickly collapse into economic analysis, like the cultural becomes a passive reflection of the economic. To conclude, as we have seen, Marx argued the social production of an existence. It always organized around a specific mode of production, and that this always provides the real foundation on which the superstructure can develop. In other words, the mode of production provides the foundations for cultural production. To understand what Marx is claiming in the architectural metaphor or base superstructure, we have to know the limits of what is conditions. In Althusianism, Althusser produced three definitions of ideology, two of which have proved particularly fruitful for the students of popular culture. Therefore, as the economic, the historically specific mode of production transforms certain raw material into products by determinate means of production, involving determinate relations of production, so ideological practice shapes as individuals live relations to the social formation. Means, in addition, Althusser contends that ideology is a material existence because an ideology always exists in an apparatus and in a practice or practices. Ideology always manifests itself through action which are inserted into practices, for example, rituals, conventional behavior, and so on. Hegemony. Hegemony is never simply power imposed from above. It is always the result of negotiation between dominant and subordinate groups, a process marked by both resistance and incorporation. There are, of course, limits to such negotiation and concession means the dominant of one group one over another often support provide legitimating norms and ideas. The associated terms hegemon is used to identify the actor, group, class, or state that exercise hegemonic power of that is responsible for the dissemination of hegemonic ideas. The concept of hegemonic allows students of particular culture to free themselves from the disabling analysis of many of the previous approaches to the subject. Popular culture is no longer a history stopping imposed culture of the political manipulation, nor it is a sign of social decline and decay, nor it is something emerging spontaneously from below, nor it is meaning machine imposes subjectives or on passive subjects. Post-Marxism and cultural studies. Post-Marxism can mean at least two things, as Ernesto Laclau and Chantal Mouffe in 2001 point out in their deeply influential contribution to post-Marxism. Hegemony and socialist strategy towards as radical democratic politics. If our intellectual project is in this book in post-Marxist, is evidently also post-Marxist. To be post-Marxist is to leave behind Marxism for something better, whereas to be post-Marxist is to seek to transform Marxism by adding to its recent theoretical development from especially feminism, postmodernism, post-structuralism, and Lacanian psychoanalysis, which means post-Marxism and cultural studies both explicitly engage with and take on to the questions of political engagement, and of ethical, political, and university responsibility. Both are interested in intervention. That would be the end of my discussion. Thank you and God bless.